So my name is Donald Galula. I'm your co-host today, together with Dennis from Passcode. He'll be able to introduce himself. Just before we begin and Dennis introduces what Passcode is about, I would like to see if Mercy is in the call. I'm trying to locate your name. Oh, yes, Mercy, I've seen you. Good. So Mercy is our guest speaker today. But I'd like to have an interactive section before we start. What will be your expectation today? What are you expecting for, by the end of this webinar? If you can have 2 or 3 people, you can simply unmute and speak about your expectation. Probably you've been with us before. You've seen how our previous webinars were. Then you can comment what your expectation for today will be. Anyone? Martha? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that. So do we have anyone who would like to make a comment? Mudoki Mudhiani, you can unmute and say something. You can decide to welcome people or talk about your expectation.
Hi.
Mudoki?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yes. I hope you can hear me. Yes. Sorry, I can't put on my video. I'm in a funny place. Yes. So thank you for the invite. And I'm also excited to be here. So I'm looking forward to learning more about the NCLEX exam. I'm interested in pursuing USRN registration for personal interest, as well as looking at getting jobs, virtual jobs, because I have an experience mostly in the pharma company. I think I've chatted you on LinkedIn. So I wanted to learn more about these exams and how to go about it. I don't have an intention of moving out of Kenya. I'm looking at getting a job where I can work virtually while working virtually from home in Kenya. Yes. So looking forward, and thanks for the opportunity for allowing us to join and sharing your experience.
Thank you, Mudoki. I think, we've spoken both on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, it's good to see you here. Do we have
nice.
anyone else who would like to comment on their expectation?
Hello,
Moses, I've seen you've unmuted. Oh, yes, Irene.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, my main goal, my main expectation rather is to know how to go about all these huge content within a very short period of time before you just take your NCLEX. And another aim is to see Mercy. I hope she's Mercy Musau Orunzila. I know her very well. She is my personal consultant, doctor, and spiritual leader. So I'm expecting to hear much from her.
Oh, amazing. Mercy, kumbe unajulikana hapa. I hope you've noted Irene's expectation, so that as you be delivering your content, you may touch on her expectation. Anyone else? Probably just 2 more people. Moses Isaiah, you've unmuted for quite some time. Okay, Moses is having issues with his audio. I'm seeing it's connecting. Anyone else who is ready? Probably a gent, because we've heard from 2 ladies. Alan, you've unmuted.
Hello.
Yes, Alan, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, habari sana.
All right, thank you. I'm asking for virtual study. Okay, I'm from Tanzania. My expectation this evening is more concerned on the time management as one request for NCLEX because it seems to be very bulky in the such that if time wasn't able to manage, it can be tricky and draining to some aspects. So if we can be helped on time management and the studying skills, that will be highly appreciated. That's my expectation this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. And if I got you well, you said you are from Tanzania, right?
No, from Zambia.
From Zambia. Oh, welcome very much, our brother. I have heard your question together with Mercy. We've noted your expectation, and it will be very well tackled during the session. One more person, just the last one. Moses Isaiah, I hope your audio is now functional. If you're still there. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your feedback and your input. Like you've heard, my name is Ngalula Donald. I'm a nurse registered here in Kenya, but I work for an agency based in the United States as a quality assurance manager. I work remotely from here, and I'm happy to be your co-host today, hosting this meeting, and also your moderator. This webinar has been organized, and it's being hosted by Passcode Global Consultants, of which Dennis will explain about it. So this will be the program. Dennis will introduce to us what Passcode is, what Passcode does, the programs that Passcode has, and how to reach out to Passcode. Then after Dennis, we will have Mercy Musau, who is our guest speaker for today, speaking to us about her journey, her NCLEX journey, the nitty-gritties of NCLEX, what to expect, and the tricks that she used to pass her exams, of which it's the goal of each and everyone here. Lastly, we'll have a Q&A session, and after that, we'll be done. So to that end, I'd like to invite Dennis to open the forum and talk to us about Passcode. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Hello, everyone. My name is Dennis. I am the program administrator as Passcode Global Consultant. Passcode is a global consultant agency that supports nurses all over the globe to study and work anywhere in the world. We do this by preparing nurses to take IELTS, NCLEX, and MCCBT. Basically, today we are talking about the NCLEX exam. That is one of the services that we do offer as Passcode Global Consultant. We are located in Nairobi, Kenya, and although we serve clients all over the globe. Today, I would like to talk about NCLEX, what it is, and what you need to do for you to sit for that exam. So NCLEX is a US license exam that anyone who wants to work in the US or Canada or any other country is supposed to take, so that you are able to meet the requirements so that you can practice nursing in the US. For NCLEX, we usually have two parts of it. We have the registrations and the training. It's not like the normal exams that you just register and just train, then you go and sit. There are some registrations that you, as a foreign nurse, you need to undertake for you to be allowed to sit for NCLEX. So basically, I want to start by talking about our program, that is the NCLEX training. We do offer the NCLEX training. Our next intake is in January 15th. Registrations are ongoing. Our programs runs for 4 months. That includes online Zoom classes. We also share with you the NCLEX materials, and we also have the e-learning portal where you are able to access the class recordings and the extra materials on NCLEX preparations. Also, we do help with the NCLEX registrations process. As you are aware that the first step you need to do is the CES application. CS basically it's a report showing your equivalence, your education equivalency in regards to the US education. So you can either do with CGFNS, Joseph Shinley, Spantran, ERS. We also guide you through the applications and usually offer advice on which one you should go with. After that, you're supposed to register with the US Board of Nursing. There are many states in the US, so we'll advise you on which states you are supposed to go with. And if you have all the requirements that are required for you to select a particular state and register with it. After that, you're supposed to do the criminal background check. We usually do that for you. We usually will issue you the fingerprint cards, and also will help you on how to go about it. After that, we also help you with ATT application. ATT is the authority to test. We also help you with the NCLEX scheduling exam. We also have a counterpart in the South Africa. As you are aware, in Africa, we only have one center for NCLEX, and that is South Africa. So we usually help our clients with facilitation in terms of linking them to the best accommodation. And also we usually have a partner there who will guide you in terms of taxi and all that that is required for you to be comfortable and go and sit the NCLEX exam. So for all the registration, we charge 20,000, but the individual cost to the various institutions you are going to pay directly using your Visa card. That's all that is involved in matters NCLEX. So you need to be prepared first in terms of the content, and also you also need to do the registrations for you to sit for the NCLEX exam. So we have been doing this for over 3 years now. We have had we have guys who have we have worked with them, we have assisted them through the process. They have gone and tested, and our pass rate speaks volume of what our programs offer. Yeah, so I'm going to share our contacts on social media, on our chat. That's our contact. So in case you want to reach out to us, feel free to reach out. Let me stop there, and if there's any questions, I will answer them at the right time. Thank you, Ronald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, for your the introduction on what Passcode is, what Passcode does, the services that Passcode offers. I hope you've been able to note them down. As you're sharing the contacts, can you also share the link to the website, the link to the services, so that the attendees can also be browsing them through later. At this point, I'd like to invite Mercy. Mercy Musau is a registered nurse. She has passed NCLEX with Passcode, and Mercy is going to speak to us on the content of today's webinar, the objective of today's webinar. So can you please sit through and listen keenly? Mercy, if you are there, kindly unmute. Mercy, you can unmute. So as Mercy is unmuting, like content creators normally say that content is king. And the same goes even to NCLEX preparations. So Mercy, you can unmute, and there you go.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Mercy, we can hear you. The only problem is that we cannot see you.
I'm sorry, I'm having a challenge with our electricity. We don't have electricity on my side, so I'm using my phone.
Oh, no. Yeah, Kenya Power has really been messing us up this weekend.
So I'm thinking my video is just going to be so blurry, it's very, very blurry, as you can see. So I just prefer to do the audio.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you. And hi, everyone. In case you don't hear me, kindly let me know, because I'm sure I might be having some challenges with my internet because of the power outage. So if maybe you'll hear me breaking, or if I'm not clear, you can maybe just let me know and see what I can do. So my name is Mercy Musau. I am a registered nurse in Kenya. I'm also a registered nurse in the US. And I'm glad to be here today to talk to you guys about this journey, which is very important in our lives. And I hope we are going to have a great time in the next few couple of minutes, that we are going to be talking about the nitty-gritties that we need to get and to know about taking and passing the NCLEX in the first attempt. So we are going to go right into it. And in case you have any questions, we can post them into the chat box. The ones I'm able to answer, I will answer. The ones that I won't be able to answer, Akina Donna are gonna help me. So right away, I want us to talk about tips on passing the NCLEX, the test taking strategies, and how to master our content. And if you have somewhere you can write, I'd really encourage you to take some few notes on the tips that I'm going to be sharing. Okay, so one, you need to have a timetable. Whether you are a beginner or you are nearing your exam, it is very important to have a timetable. And not only having a timetable, you need to be faithful to it. You can have it in weeks or in days, your preference. You can just do your preference. Like personally, I'm going to be telling you what I personally used to do as I go on with the points. Like personally, my timetable was in weeks. I found it much easier for me to handle because of my shifts. When you have a timetable, it helps you to know which contents you have covered and which content you have not covered. Otherwise, just being there out in this forest without knowing what you have covered or not covered, you are in danger. So you must have one, put down all your topics, put down all your systems, know what you have covered and what you haven't covered, and how you're going to move forward with it. Now, one thing with the timetable, I was in the Passcode class. I am an alumni of Passcode, and Passcode really helped me in coming up with my own timetable as I was following through also with the class timetable. Because I used to set my timetable in accordance with the topics that we are learning in class. Like maybe if this week we are doing psychiatry, I'll set my timetable to be psychiatry, and I will go through the other materials that that contain all the topics to do with psychiatry, whether it is Saunders, whether it is McCormick, whether it is whichever material that I had, so that I could be in line with what I was learning in class. The other thing is that you should study smart and wide. Have various materials and books, but take note of these. Do not have a lot of materials, because they will confuse you. You will just overwhelm yourself for nothing, because you have so many materials that you want to get your content from. But that does not tell you that you should have only one material that you're getting your content from. You need to have a wide and a variety of materials or books where you get your content from, because from my experience, you have lecturers or maybe books that are explaining certain topics differently. So you'll find that you understand a particular book better, or you understand an explanation in a particular book better than another one. So it is good that you have a variety of materials and books for study. And these books, you're going to be using them in conjunction with your timetable. Because if you're having a timetable and you have your books, you're able to see what you're supposed to study, and you have the materials. You're going to get your information from. So that one is a point that you'll put at the back of your mind. The other thing that really helped me also in this journey is about discipline. Discipline will come in. Let me talk about maybe the students who are in the
looks like we've lost Mercy. Her call just dropped. Dennis, you can try to help follow up.
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, Mercy, now we can hear you.
Sorry, I think I muted. I really mute accidentally. Sorry, guys. So I was talking about the point of discipline. Discipline, and I was saying, I know we have students in the Passcode class. Discipline will come in by ensuring that you attend each and every single class. Every time you have a class, make sure that you are there. If by any chance you are not able to attend a particular class, always make sure that you listen to the recordings. Do not pile up your recordings and then you just say, isn't Tapitia over the weekend? There are going to be too many and you're going to be having a lot of material to study, and you still have to go over your questions. You still have to go over your Q banks, so you'll be overwhelmed. So it is good that if you miss a class, the following day, or even maybe that day, that night, you go over that classroom that you missed, or go over those videos and audios that you missed in that class. If you are not in Passcode or in Passcode class, for one, I will really urge you to join the Passcode class. You need study buddies. You need somebody to guide you. You need classes, somebody to lead you in assignments. NCLEX is just one forest. And you know, I know we have some other agencies that teach us in their classrooms, like those Muzungus, they come and teach you on NCLEX. Those Muzungus don't know what we do in Kenya as nurses. They do not know our content. They are not exposed to the Kenyan medical field. So it is not easy for them to understand what we do. And it will be, you will not be like, let me say, you will not be at par with them, because what they are saying and what we do is usually very different. But when we have people who have been in our medical area, who know what happens in Kenya, who know what nurses do in Kenya, they are able to explain well. They tell you, in Kenya, I know we do 1, 2, 3, but this is what NCLEX wants you to think. I know as a Kenyan nurse, this is what you think and this is what you do. But NCLEX requires you to think this way and answer the questions this way. Passcode really guided me on my thinking, because I really had to change my thinking from a nurse in Kenya to a nurse in the US. And that is how I was able to ace my NCLEX at the first attempt. So if you're not in Passcode class, kindly make an arrangement so that you can join them in January as they're beginning that class. If maybe you're taking your test very soon, all is not lost. They are still here to guide you if you reach out to them. So discipline in your classes and discipline in your studies is very important. If you have a group, kindly attend your group studies. If you study alone, just make sure you do the necessary as needed. If you have been given assignments, whether in class or out of class, make sure you do your assignments and you submit them in time so that you're able to be at par with the class. The other thing is about practicing questions. I cannot stress this enough. You need to practice questions on a daily basis, especially if you are nearing your exam. Now, if you're a newbie, if you're just starting this process, I would encourage you to first begin with the content, because rushing to answer NCLEX questions or rushing to do the Q banks without getting the content first is going to discourage you. Please do not go down that road, because personally, that is what I did. I just bought the Q banks and I began answering the questions without even going through the NCLEX content. And I'm telling you, I just used to score 30s. I scored 20s and I was so discouraged. I was like, kwani kitu inajibu yangu aje? All I didn't know, what I didn't know is that I needed to go through the content first so that I'm able to think like a nurse in the US. So if you're just beginning, I would urge you to first get the materials, go over the materials, then you can begin your questions. But you're here, you are in the middle of your journey, or you are nearing your exam.
Mercy, you can.
What's it?
Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why it's muting. Okay. So I was talking about I was talking to the candidates, or maybe those who are nearing the exam, either in a month or two. I cannot stress this enough. I need to say that you need to do 150 questions per day without fail. The NCLEX is 150 questions long. And when you're going to the exam room, I want you to have a mindset that you are going to get 150 questions. If I can just share something small, I personally just wanted to do 85 questions when my NCLEX, when I was going to do my NCLEX, and because in my Cuba, in my practice, my questions, they were stopping at 85. So when I was going to the NCLEX room, I was like, God help me that my exam stops at 85. But then I remembered one of my friends had told me I should have a mindset of 150 questions so that if my computer goes beyond 85 questions, I do not panic, because once you panic, then you lose it. When you lose it, you fail. So practicing 150 questions will create resilience in you, so that you are able to know, or you are able to do the 150 questions if your exam does not stop at 85 questions. For those who do not know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm saying. NCLEX is a CAT exam. This is an exam that is offered through a computer. So it's the questions, when you as you're answering the questions in the computer just moves forward, moves forward as you're answering the questions, and it stops at a particular time when it determines whether you have passed or whether you have failed. So the questions can stop at 85, whether you have passed or you have failed, or they can stop at any number from 85 onwards. And there's a possibility you could go up to 150 if the computer has not determined whether you have passed or failed. So there is no particular marks at you have to get now 90 out of 150 so to determine that you have passed. No, it's a CAT exam. So for us who are almost doing our exams, can you begin today if you have not begun? 150 questions are the least questions you can do per day. Now, I also want you to know about your weak areas. It is very important to know all your content, but concentrate on your weak areas. I'm not saying ignore the questions that you are acing or you're scoring well, or the subject or the systems where you're doing well. But you need to concentrate more on your weak areas, because there's a possibility they can put you down, or they can bring your curve down in the exam. Now, for us who have Q banks, whether you have Archer, whether you have UWorld, whether you have all the other Q banks, I'm just talking about the ones I have used and I have seen. When you answer a question, there is a part where it tells you the percentage of candidates or the percentage of students who got that particular question correctly. Now you need to really concentrate on that percentage, because if you answer a question and you get it wrong, and the percentage that is given for the students who got that question correct are above 40%, then you need to worry, because that means there is something that everybody knows that you don't know, and that is very dangerous in the NCLEX. So these percentages that they are given at the bottom of the question, they tell you 60% of this answered correctly, 80% answered correctly, but you answered incorrectly. You need to pull out that question, know where it has been pulled from, whether it is a system, whether it is a topic, and go back to your materials and study that topic thoroughly, so that you are able to score just like the other students. Now, these other questions that are very difficult, their levels are, we have the hard, we have the simple, we have the very difficult. We have those questions whereby when you answer, you just get like 3% answered this correctly. I'm not saying you ignore them, but do not worry so much about them. Worry about these questions where we have above 40% of students answering it correct. Pull that question out, go back to your books and study that topic thoroughly, so that you are able to understand the content from that particular topic. Then, after you do your 150 questions, you should review them. You just don't do them and don't review them, because you do not know what you've gotten right and what you've gotten wrong. You'll not be able to know about these percentages I am talking about. So once you do your 150 questions today, review them tomorrow. See which questions did I get right? And if I got them right, why did I get them correct? Go through the rationales. I like some Q banks, they always have the rationale after the question. If there is a question that you got incorrect, go through the rationale. Why did I get this incorrect? Have a notebook somewhere. Just be noting down some very few points that you need to master. And that is how you're going to get your content to stick into your mind. The other thing, for beginners, I don't want you to have a lot of Q banks. One Q banks is enough for you, so that as you go through your material, you're able to go through your Q bank. One is enough if you're beginning. But if you are nearing your exam, you need to have at least 2 Q banks. This is because you need to rate yourself with different examiners. For example, if you're having Archer alone and you're nearing exams, you might be answering questions in Archer and you find like, oh, I'm just scoring 80s, I'm staying above the curve. But the fact is that your mind has, or you have mastered, or you have crammed how they set their questions. So you are able to answer them. You might even find a question being repeated in a particular cut or in a particular assessment test. So you will be thinking, you'll have confidence thinking, I am doing well in my revision. So I don't need to worry. But what you don't know is that maybe the examiners, the examiners, because they are different and they set their questions differently, you might not score so well in the NCLEX and you'll be very disappointed. So it is good you rate yourself with not less than 2 Q banks. Answer this one, then go to the other Q bank, answer that too, and see whether your scores are corresponding to each other. The other thing, I need to tell those who are nearing the exam that with these Q banks that you have, I know they have readiness assessment tests and they also have cuts that have been provided in them. Kindly Do 2 readiness assessment tests and 1 CAT per week on top of the 150 questions that you are doing. You need to do 2 readiness assessment tests and 1 CAT per week. Why? It is because the readiness assessment tests are going to help you to grade yourself. You'll be able to know where you are. You'll be able to tell your curve, how your curve goes. Like personally, that is what I did with my timetable. I set myself to do 2 readiness assessment tests and 1 CAT every week. I used to do the 2 readiness assessment tests in between the week, and then my CAT, I used to take it on Saturday. That is the last day of my study because I used to rest on Sunday. Now, this will tell me, you will show me the curve because I was using different Q banks. I'll look at my curve and see, these questions, because the curve tells you the questions, there are questions which dropped my curve. So I circle out those questions and go back to that particular question and see which questions are these that were dropping my curve. Am I staying above the curve? Am I going below the curve? What is happening to me? So these readiness assessment tests and CATs will be able to tell you where you are. Are you ready for the exam or not? Because it is very disappointing, spending all that money and going to SA or going to India to do the exam, and then you come back with a fail. It really just makes you feel like you don't want to continue with this journey. So you have to give it your all. Sacrifice your all, knowing that you're going to do this exam once and for all. Once you pass NCLEX, that's it. You don't do it again. Ukishapita, umepita. So you give it your all. Do the readiness assessments and do the CATs every week. The other thing is if you are able, because this needs a lot of time. What I'm talking about needs a lot of time, and it needs a lot of concentration. Please take leave from work in the last month to your exam. You'll not be able to juggle in between your work and your exam. If you're able to do that, well, it's good for you. But personally, I feel like you need to put all your energy into studying or into doing the final preparation for NCLEX when you do not have any other assignments. Take leave from work, take leave from social media, take leave from WhatsApp group, take leave from any kind of thing that is eating up on your time, because you need to put in all your time into NCLEX. Yani maisha yako, all your life, during preparation for NCLEX, should be rotating around NCLEX. Everything is NCLEX. When you sleep, it's NCLEX. When you wake up, it's NCLEX, without having anything in between to bring distraction to you. If you are a group admin, if you are a treasurer or a chairperson or something, please, you need to take leave from those things. Give those responsibilities to somebody else. If you have weddings that are pending and parties, you need to pend them so that time you can accord it into studying for your NCLEX. And if you're able to take your leave, please take your leave in the last month to your exams so that you are able to study or concentrate on your NCLEX. Personally, what I did on my phone, because we know our phones are just our phones. And sometimes you're studying on the phone and then you see something on social media and you want to go through it, and then you end up spending 4 hours looking at that thing and you go on and on. Then after that, you start feeling guilty and all that stuff. This is what I did. I put all my apps in the background. On my screen, I only had WhatsApp, phone calls for dialing, and my M-Pesa icon. Those are the only icons that were on my front screen. Everything else, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Snapchat, all those things, I put them at the back of my phone so that even if there was a notification, I wouldn't see it, because I did not want any distraction from social media. Social media can take a lot of your time. It can take up a lot of your time, and you're going to regret it later, after you find yourself, it is 5 hours down your time that you have not studied everything. Then there's something to do with resting. I know I'm talking about your life rotating around NCLEX at this particular time, but you need also to rest. Your mind is like an engine. It needs to be serviced and it needs to be re-energized. So find a day in your week where you rest. Personally, I used to rest on Sundays. I didn't want anything to do with books on Sundays. On Sundays, I was just refreshing. I go to church, I do my own things and stuff like that. So resting is very important because it also gives your mind time to absorb what you have been going through, what you have been reading, what you have been studying throughout the week. So that when you're waking up on Monday morning, you are re-energized and you have the psyche to continue again with the studies. So you see, if you are resting on Saturday, if you're resting on Friday, if you're resting on Tuesday, whichever day it is that you're resting, make sure you have 1 day per week that you are resting. The other thing, we have audios that are available for free on YouTube. They are full of free audios. Now, you need to replace all your music and all your other kind of audios with NCLEX materials, guys. I'm telling you. Your audios are very important, very vital, and very effective when you are tired of studying or when you are in a position where you are not able to study. Do your audios whenever you can. It doesn't matter where. I think we listen to music anywhere and everywhere we want. So you are going to replace that music with audios from NCLEX. And we have a lot of audios. We have McClimac, we have NAS Mike for NAS Labs, we have Registered RN, we have Crusade International, and all these audios are available. They are available on YouTube and they are for free. You don't buy them. And we have even our friends who have the same audios. We can also ask them to share with you. So personally, I used to do audios when I'm going to sleep, when I am washing clothes, when I'm doing laundry, that is, when I am doing my dishes, when I am washing my house, when I am walking, when I am in the car, when I am traveling to somewhere. Yani, even if when I was going to the shamba, I used to have my earphones on. I wanted to be NCLEX oriented because I just wanted my life to be rotating around NCLEX until I did my exam. So you need to have those audios with you. Yeah, I'm going to edit. I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to maybe to write them in the chat box so that you're able to get them. Do audios every time, everywhere you are. That is one way that is going to help you to master your content, because this is something that you have studied in your materials, you have discussed maybe in your groups, you have studied in class, maybe if you're in Passcode class, and now you have an audio to it, you're listening to it. When I was in the exam room doing my NCLEX, I would read a question and a particular audio would ring in my head. Because I had played the audio so many times, I will just hear if it was anything to do with lab values, if it was anything to do with pharmacology or some particular kind of medicine. I would remember maybe a mnemonic that somebody, maybe it is Nas Mike, that used to say. I would remember a saying that maybe if it is McClimac, he used to say. Those audios played in my head, and it was really easy for me to go over the questions because I could recall them easily because of how often I used to listen to the audios. So please, kindly get your audios and listen to them as often as you can. The other thing I also want to say is that when you're cutting yourself off from the social media to get more time to study, if you study well in a group, please join a group. If you study well alone, I do not discourage you. Please study well alone. If you are able to get a friend via WhatsApp, via whatever means that you can, and you're able to a discussion is able to flow through your discussion, kindly join those people, create a WhatsApp group, and you share materials there and discuss difficult questions and discuss anything that you want to discuss in that group. Passcode really helped us in that. it put us together, you know. People who wanted to be in a group but we were far apart, they helped us come together and we formed a group, and we'll just post materials there. If I was going through a QBank and maybe there's a question that I'm not really able to understand, I post it in the group. Then somebody else who understood that topic will just post an explanation, and it was very easy for me to go through the explanation and get what I did not get when I was studying on my own. And finally, confidence and a positive attitude is what you will need when you go into that example. NCLEX is challenging, but it is doable. I was really looking forward to a day when I will be saying that after I had aced the NCLEX. It is very challenging, but it is very doable. So you need to have confidence and you need to have a positive attitude towards this exam. Whatever it is that you have studied, that is the same material that they are going to bring into the exam. All they do is twist it a little bit, but when you critically think, you just get what they are. You just get what they are asking in the question. So as I complete, this is what I want to say. In NCLEX preparation and mastering of content, do something NCLEX related every day. That is a must, and there is no other way around it. You have to do something NCLEX related every single day. And you should feel very worried if you're not able to do that. You should be worried. NCLEX material should be studied on a daily basis. Master your mnemonics and your videos. I know we have a lot of mnemonics on YouTube, or even when you Google something, you're going to get mnemonics of diseases, of drugs, of conditions. They are going to be there. Master every mnemonic that you can. I remember a lady we were in Passcode class with. She was called Marianne. Marianne said she even made mnemonics in her own mother tongue. My friend, if you can understand better when you are making mnemonics in your own mother tongue, please do it, as long as you're getting the content. So master your mnemonics and master your videos. Then join a class. If you don't have a class, Passcode is here for you. Join a group study and move with them. During the exam, please sleep early, because you do not want to go into the exam room with a tired head. You're going to be looking at that computer and you'll just be seeing blue, because you have gone into the exam room with a tired mind and a tired head. Please sleep early on the day of your exam. Just refresh and stay away from the books, and just go into that exam room with all the confidence that you have in this world. Don't panic when you are in the exam room. Kindly, when the questions you're answering them, please don't panic. You can panic after the exam. That is okay, because you will not make any difference. But when you're panicking during that exam, you set your mind into a panic mode, then you go into fear, and then fear makes you to forget everything that you have studied for all that time you have been preparing for your NCLEX. So do not panic. What you have studied is what will be in the exam. All you have to do is think critically. Answer that question and ace that exam. Please carry something to eat during your exam or when you're going for the exam. That is what I personally did, because I'm this person who cannot eat the night before an exam. So I carried something to eat to my exam room. And I'm happy because when I was given, when my computer said I should take a break, I took a break. Please take a break. Tafadhali. Take a break during your exam. It is very important. It refreshes your mind. So I took a break. I went and ate my biscuits and my juice, and I went back into the exam room. And you'll be able to do just well. Then one thing I need to say about the exam is that I don't know whether to say it is negative marking, but we, in the NGN, we have these SATA questions whereby before, in the old generation NCLEX, for the SATA questions, when they said you need to choose, if you had to choose 3 answers and you choose 2, you just get the whole question wrong. But what they're doing in the new generation NCLEX, if a question has 3 answers and you choose 2 answers correctly, you're going to get those 2 marks out of 3. But if you choose 2 correct answers and you choose 1 incorrect answer, they are going to cancel out. The 2 correct one minus the one that is incorrect. So you're going to score 1 mark instead of 2 marks. I hope you've understood me. So when you are answering those questions, the SATA questions in the NGN, kindly pick what you are 100% sure is correct, so that you do not lose marks by guessing. You cannot guess in NCLEX. So just choose what you are 100% sure about, so that you do not lose marks via the negative marking. So have the confidence that you need. If you're spiritual like me, pray to God that he helps you to grasp each and every content that you study and to understand everything that you study, and just have the confidence that you need, and you're going to do well in these exams. Look for somebody to work with in this journey, and you'll be able to do well. I can see somebody asking, telling me to repeat about the SATA. What I was saying about the SATA is that there is negative marking in the SATA. This is what I mean. If there are 3 correct choices in the SATA, and you choose 2 and fail to choose the other 1, you'll get 2 marks. 2 correct marks out of 3, because you've chosen 2 correct answers. But if you choose 2 correct answers and 1 incorrect, 1 wrong answer, they are going to cancel out the 2 minus 1. So you get 1. You're gonna get 1 mark for that particular question instead of 2, because there is an answer which you chose that was incorrect. Suppose you choose 2 correct answers and 2 incorrect ones, you're going to get a no mark. That is a 0, because 2 minus 2 is a 0. So I'm insisting you only choose the answers that you are 100% sure of, and you'll be able to go, you'll be able to be above your graph all the time you are answering your questions. So I think that's about it. And I think there's somebody who had asked me earlier about traveling, and I thank Dennis because he also talked about something to do with traveling to the exam centers in regards to whether you're doing in South Africa or in India. Personally, I took my exams in South Africa, and I'd like to advise us, please book your flight early. As early as today, if your exam is in the next 1 or 2 months, book your flight as early as today. Do not sleep today without booking that flight. Why? It will be cheaper for you. It will also help you prepare adequately in terms of traveling and in terms of cash. I personally booked my flight a bit late, which I regretted later because I really paid a lot. Once I had people who had paid almost half of what I paid because I traveled with KQ. So if you book your flight early, it's going to save you some cash. And it will also give you time to reschedule in case there is something that cannot be avoided. Sometimes these flights are rescheduled. Like personally, mine was rescheduled a day before I was to travel. So I just got an email and they say, oh, your flight has been rescheduled to 24 hours from the day I was supposed to travel. The good thing is that I was traveling early. I actually traveled like 3 days before, 4 days to my NCLEX. My exam was on a 26th and I traveled, I think, on a 20th or something. I was just traveling early. I didn't want to have jet lag. I also wanted to make a pre-visit to the exam center, and I just wanted to blend into the environment. I didn't want anything to come in my way between me and NCLEX. So book your flight early and travel earlier too. Don't travel today when you're taking your exam tomorrow. The jet lag is going to kill you, the fatigue and everything. So you need time to relax before you do your exam. And if you are able maybe to do a pre-visit to the exam center, that is also a plus, so that you're able just to know how the environment looks like, so that you do not panic when you see the exam center, and go to the exam early. Because I saw somebody whose exam was almost cancelled because they were late. to the exam center, but I think she talked her way into the exam room. So go into the exam center early enough. 1 hour before is the best, so that you're able to just be there in time, and just have the confidence that you need, and you're going to do this. So at that particular point, I think I have said much, and I'd like to stop there. Maybe if there is a very burning question, I'm able to answer. It can be posed and I'll answer it. Thank you. Back to you, Donald.
Wow, thank you very much, Mercy. I hope my audio is now clear. I had issues earlier. Dennis, can you confirm if my audio is not clear?
Yes, the audio is clear. Can proceed.
Oh, asante sana. Oh, Mercy, that was quite a presentation, very emphatic and energetic in the manner in which you presented this. Irene had expectations. Irene, have your expectations been met? It was Irene Ouma.
Yes, Donald, I've learned a lot from Mercy, and being that I know her and maybe has the contact, I'll even reach out to her later. Najua hata nikata.
Irene, siwezi kukata.
I'm glad that...
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you so much.
Welcome, my dear.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I know we have quite a number of questions. Some have already been answered in the chat box, but we're going to read out a few that need to be answered live. For those that have been answered, we are not going to ask them again. All right. Just kindly please mute. Now, Mercy, as you take a glass of water, there was a question. That you were asked about that you've used. Somebody is asking, what books are you using specifically? The study materials. You would say that you should have a variety of resources. So, will you be able to share with us the types of resources, the resources you specifically used? And then there's a question from Zilpa, although I think that one has already been answered. So, Mercy, you can answer that one first, then the rest of the questions will follow.
Okay, for the material that I used, for one, I had Passcode class. I was in Passcode, and I attended their lectures. So that is one material that I had. The other material I had was, of course, Sounders, and that was the latest edition. I had the 9th edition. I had Rema Quick Facts as a material. And I had the MacLimek audios and the Nasachiv, because Nasachiv is a Q bank, and where Humphrey from Passcode helped me acquire. I had Archer and I had UWorld. I also obtained the NAS Labs, the free one. There's a free NAS Labs Q bank that is on YouTube, and also I think it is in the social media. I think I downloaded it from Chrome. And I watched a lot of YouTube videos. So basically that's it. Passcode classes, Sounders, MacLimek, Nasachiv Q Bank, Archer Q Bank, UWorld Q Bank, NAS Labs Q Bank, that is for free, and a lot of YouTube videos, that is from NAS Mike, from Registered NAS RN, that was Sarah, and also from Crusade International. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy. And the question I saw somewhere, although I know none of us could still answer it, how long does the exam take? You are seated on your computer, how long does it take?
The exam takes as long as 5 hours, but it will depend with your speed of answering the questions and at which number your questions will stop at. Like I did my exam for a rough of around 2.5 hours, because my computer shut at 85 questions. I passed with 85 questions. So it depends on the answering of the questions, but basically the 150 questions are spread along 5 hours.
Dennis, if I may ask a question that I saw being asked by Lee from Zambia about the charges.
Hello, Donald. I can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Donald, I'm able to hear you.
Thank you. I think my PC is having a little bit of issues with the audio. All right, so there's an administrative question that was asked by our colleague from Zambia about charges and the currency of the charges. So I'm able again to just break it down for the sake of those who are not there and break it down in terms of currency. Thank you.
Yes, for the NCLEX registration classes, sorry, for NCLEX training or NCLEX classes, we charge 300 USD. And as I've informed them, our next class is starting on 15 January 2024. For the NCLEX registrations, we charge $200. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I hope our colleagues from Zambia, you're now well appraised with that. Let me check if we have any other question. Mercy, you are being requested if you can kindly write the materials down in the chat box.
Yeah, I'm actually doing it right now.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Yes, there was a question about a question that had intimated something about the first generation and the second generation of NCLEX. Although we had already done a webinar about this, if you look on our YouTube channel, you should be able to find an upload so that you're able to understand what Mercy was talking about pattern, negative marking, and what are the changes that have happened between the first generation and the second generation, the new generation, sorry, the old generation and the new generation of NCLEX. And I'm going to allow 2 people to ask their questions live. I'm going to allow 2 people to ask their questions live. And I'll begin with, yes, just raise your hand, your hand if you'd like to ask your question live. 2 people for the sake of time. Amazing, amazing. Or better still, Naomi, you can still reach out to Passcode and see if you can reach an arrangement. Just reach out with the numbers that have been provided, and you will be guided and helped further. I think, Irene, you had a question? Irene Nonde.
Yes, I had a question. And what I wanted to find out was, I don't know if you have an idea of how much is chargeable for writing the exam. Because I'm also starting classes in January.
I'm not sure if I picked it right. Dennis, did you pick the question?
Okay. How much is it to write for exam?
Yes.
Unfortunately,
I can't hear that question. Maybe she can repeat.
Okay, my question is, how much is it to sit for exams in South Africa or India? How much is it in dollars?
Oh, okay. The cost is same regardless of where you are sitting the exam. You have to go through the registrations, and if you reach out to us, we are going to share you a breakdown of the cost that is involved. So regardless of where you are sitting the exam, the cost is same.
Oh, okay. So that cost has to be paid whilst I'm doing my registration, or it has to be paid when the ATT is out?
Yes, you have to do the registration. You see, the registration is a process. You have to start with the CS application, then you do the US board registration, you do the background security check, then now you apply for ATT. After applying for ATT, and you have gotten the ATT, that is the time now you schedule the exam.
Okay.
So it's done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Dennis. Humphrey, if you are in a position to unmute your mic, you can still make a comment about Irene's question. I know you're in a place where your network is a little bit shaky, but are you able to make a comment or type in the chat box?
Hello, Donald, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that the question that is being asked by Doreen, by Irene, in regards to the cost of doing the NCLEX exam, what you realize is that we have the cost of registering for the exam, which is constant, regardless of where you are. Then we have the cost of preparing for the exam, like paying for the classes, buying the question bank, which is also does not vary depending on where you are. But for someone like Irene and all the people who are in Southern Africa, if you ask me, I'll say that they are actually advantaged because for them, traveling to the test center costs less as compared to someone who is traveling from East Africa or someone else who is traveling from West Africa. So actually, the other day I was talking to a client who is in South Africa. If you look at their cost of doing the NCLEX, it's almost half what someone from East Africa is spending because almost 50% of the cost goes to airfare. So for our clients from Zambia, and we honor you for being in this meeting, your cost is actually lower because from Zambia to South Africa, you can even travel by bus if you plan to travel early. So the cost can vary depending on where you are located in regards to the nearest test center. So for that reason, it is important that if you want to start the process, you reach us. We have enough staff to even do a meeting with you to be able to break down what is needed for you to be able to do an exam. And we are going to sit down with you. We are going to explain to you the costs so that as you start the process, you can be able to plan prior. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Humphrey. And while you're still on that thought, just before I release you, there are two more questions that I'd like you to comment on. That is one, do you have an age limit for someone to get probably, let's say, start the entire process and end up getting a job or being registered as a nurse in the US? And number two, should I begin the entire process in January and going through everything? How long will it take an individual to begin classes, do NCLEX, and definitely get a placement in the US?
So let me begin with the last question, which is asking about the duration of the process. And this is a question that many people like asking. I like breaking this process into two parts. First of all, there is the part of doing the NCLEX, and there is the part of the immigration process. So we have the pre-NCLEX process and the post-NCLEX process. The pre-NCLEX process is entirely dependent on you, especially if you join our program and do the self-sponsored program. Because first of all, we are looking at, do you have the money to finance your program? I mean, to finance your process so that it can move faster. Secondly, we are looking at, do you have the time to invest in the process? Thirdly, we are looking at, do you have the commitment? Because if you have the money, you have the commitment, you have the time, you can do the NCLEX within 4 months. You can start the process in January, and by May, you are taking your exam. So within 4 months, you have done the exam. We actually have one of our latest NCLEX passer who did the process within 5 months and did the exam and passed. But sometimes you'll find that someone has started the process, maybe the work commitments are delaying them, the finances sometimes are delaying them. So that's why actually we do a meeting with you first so that we can help you to plan. So the pre-NCLEX process is entirely dependent on the person. If you are studying well, once we do an assessment with you by the end of the program, we will certify you as ready to schedule for your exam. You go and test. So within the 4, 5 to 6 months, you can take your exam and pass, and you'll be through with the first part or phase of the process. Then the next phase is going to depend on the agent that is doing your immigration, maybe a direct hire agent or a staffing agent, and also how the process is moving with the embassy. So partly it depends on the process, because the agency can do what we call premium processing. They can file premium processing for you. So you are going to to pass so many people on the line, those who are not doing the premium processing. But on the same case, you may be with an agency that is low. So if your agent is low, they don't want to do the premium processing, your process is going to take longer. Again, it also depends with your country. Where is your country in terms of visa issuance? Because all the countries are not at the same place in terms of visa issuance in the US. So roughly, for many African countries, the whole process is going to take about 18 months when there is no progression, to about 2 years. But the NCLEX process, it can take about 4, 5, 6 months. In the US, where people have studied using the NCLEX curriculum from first year in nursing school, they take about 3 months to revise the NCLEX and take the exam. Others revise for 4 months and take the exam. But to see now, with our African setting, we have to study because there are some aspects of the curriculum that are in the NCLEX, but they are not in our nursing curriculum. So that's why we usually have to take more time to study for the NCLEX. So if you take good control of your process, you can take 4 or 5 months, you are done with the NCLEX exam, and you start your NCLEX exam. Again, if, for example, you start this process with your friend today, your friend has already done NCLEX, you have not done NCLEX, then by the time you are done with the NCLEX, you get an employer. It means that while you go to do NCLEX, your colleague will go start their immigration immediately. So this process is very individualistic, depends with how fast are you able to do it. There are some people who will start revising for the NCLEX, they tell you, 4 months is not enough for me, I need to pay again and do another 4 months. So they do 8 months. So people are very different, and it's good to understand yourself. And if you understand yourself and you want to study for more months, but you are studying slow, but you are doing a slow but sure process, that is very okay, because you're going to take your exam and pass. Now, getting to the question of age, there is no age limit for you to migrate to the US or to practice nursing in the US. However, most of the people usually ask this question because agents have set their own limit. So when you are dealing with an agent, you don't dictate their rules. It is them who set their rules. Unfortunately, mostly for the US, in terms of when you're going to the US as a nurse, you have to move there through an agent, either a staffing agent or a direct hire agent, because they have to act as your sponsor. The visa that nurses are usually given is an EB3 visa, an immigrant almost permanent visa, because it gives you PR, green card within the first month of arriving in the US. So the US government requires that this visa must have a sponsor. And in this case, the sponsor is the agent. So an agent will set their own age limit. But the good thing is that today, even people who have over 50 years can be able to move to the US with those, and the agents are going to, to sign you in. At Passcode, we have been having people who are even 55 years old. They are signing in, they are passing NCLEX, and they are moving to the US without any problems. So maybe the person who is asking about the age limit, they can reach us and disclose their age to us. Then we are going to advise them better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Humphrey. It's good to hear from you this evening. And as we are coming to the close of the meeting, because I see we have only 4 minutes remaining, then we should be closing. All right, so there was only one question that I would like us to handle. And this is from Zilfa. Zilfa is asking, how much money are we looking for? Are we looking at for self-sponsorship? That is the entire process. I know, Dennis, you had posted in some charges, but if you're able to get just a rough breakdown of the entire process, or rather, just generally, how much would one be looking at to finish the entire process, especially this the self-sponsored process. Humphrey?
Yeah, so what I can say is that I will give my figures in dollars minus the travel cost, because the travel costs will vary depending on where you are. The accommodation cost will vary depending on what you want. So minus the travel and accommodation costs, we are looking at about $1,500. So if you have $1,500, you're able to do all the registrations and to pay for the class and do the entire process. But remember, the NCLEX Center in Africa today is only found in South Africa. The cost of going to South Africa or going to India from most parts of Africa is the same, especially East Africa, Central Africa, and North Africa. Save for the people who live in Southern African countries, who can even travel to Johannesburg by bus and take their exam. And for the people who are in the UK, they can just take their exam in London. I've also seen that West Africans are preferring to go to either London or even Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, which is very okay as long as you do your exam. For those people who want to go to India, they have the flexibility of scheduling their exam whenever they want, because India has 18 NCLEX centers. So with around $1,500, $1,600, that's enough to do the whole process. And you can reach us, we sit down with you, we help you to plan for that amount, and it's going to be enough to do the exam. And lastly, as I end, I need to mention that you don't pay to Passcode that money. Passcode is a guide agency. We guide you to do the process. You only pay the guiding fees or the processing fees. The other fees you'll be paying to those other institutions using your Visa card, and we are going to guide you to do that.
All right. Oh, dear colleagues, we can never really exhaust everything. So I'd like to ask to make a call to action, and I'll begin with Mercy. Mercy, can give us your call to action in a statement or in a line, and as we come to the close. Mercy.
Yes. So this is my call to action and my parting shot too. I'd like to tell us all that all NCLEX wants to know is whether you are a safe nurse. That's it. So do priority questions ×2 as you do all the other questions. Safety is all that NCLEX wants to determine. Focus, determination, and will to pass is going to give you an A. You're going to ace the NCLEX exam. So guys, stay focused, be determined, and have the will to pass, and you're going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mercy. Dennis, our program admin.
Thank you, Donald. My call to action is to encourage you that NCLEX is doable. We are here to work with you throughout the journey, from start to finish. Others have done it. They have worked. We have worked with them. What makes you think that you can't do it? Join us. We start working with you to ensure that your USRN process and dream comes a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denise. And then I will have Mr. Humphrey. And I realize you did not introduce yourself. You came in right in and bombarded you with questions.
Thank you very much, Donald. My name is Humphrey Nkonge. I'm the program director at Passcode. I actually oversee the NCLEX program alongside the other programs. And I'm happy that our products are in the market right now. Even in the post-NCLEX groups, you'll find us represented there by the NCLEX, Passcode NCLEX alumni. We are so proud of them, including Mase Mosao, our guest speaker today. I actually was the coordinator I'm supervisor of Mase when she was doing an NCLEX revision, and I remember how sometimes I used to be hard on her, and she assured me that she has done everything possible and she's going to pass her exam. And actually, when she passed, I realized that she was actually over-prepared, and I was so much happy for that. So my parting shot today will be that the world is so much calling. The US really needs so many nurses. With NCLEX, you can practice in the US, which is a country of over 460 million people right now. That's a huge market. With NCLEX, you can also practice in Canada. With NCLEX, you can also practice in Australia. You can just endorse your license there. Soon and very soon, Dubai is also looking for nurses who have just passed NCLEX, and they bypass you some of the exams as long as you have the NCLEX. I also saw the other day a job advertised in Kenya, and they were looking for someone who had the NCLEX. I think someone was asking about that question. Nowadays, we're also getting people who are telling us, I want to have the NCLEX so that it can be my, like a security kind of, so that in case of anything I want to move, I'll just start my process and move. So I would like to ask nurses that I do not know what kind of phenomena or time you are waiting for in your life as a nurse. This is the best time to shine. Someone told me that currently your nursing license is like a global passport. So that nursing license that you hold today can take you anywhere you want to go in the world. And I want to ask you a question. If you have the American passport today, which country would you want to go that you cannot go proudly with your head high? So take the challenge, start the NCLEX process, and be a global citizen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Humphrey. As I also make my remarks and close the meeting, Rita, for you to practice in UK, you really do not need NCLEX. There's a different exam called NMC CBT, which gives you licensure to work in the UK. Meanwhile, my remarks will be: victory rests on efforts. If you begin making efforts today, then the victory you're looking for and your American dream or Australian dream or Canada dream then will be realized based on your efforts. Otherwise, I wish you well and a very beautiful week ahead. For Kenyans, let's go out tomorrow and plant trees as the government has told us. And for all our potential clients, I invite you to join Passcode. Reach out, their contacts are in the chat box. Please do not wait. I'm giving you probably a minute to locate. You can locate the contact in the chat box and copy. Yes, just look in the chat box and copy the contacts. Okay, thank you. So we can all unmute our videos and unmute our audios and tell each other good night. Have a blessed week ahead. If it's possible, yes, you can unmute your video, unmute your audio.
Bye. Good night. Bye. Thank you.
Good night. It was a pleasure having you all.
Good night. Really enjoyed it.
Good night.
Good night.